You gotta love the homosexuals, Carol. You gotta love, what? She knows, she says. The lesbian in the back room says, you know I do. You gotta love the homosexuals. Yes, that's the theme for today's show. We dedicate it to Tom Tillis, who loves the homosexuals. Does he? I hear Tom Tillis loves the homosexuals. All right, so, oh no, he just hires people who like cheat and have sex in his office. Remember that? Wasn't that Tom Tillis, Carol? A couple of years ago? Tom Tillis had a big, one of those adulterous scandals in his office. Yay, Tom Tillis. Way to keep a sharp eye on what's going on in your own office. Yep. All right, I've got a couple links here. That's the main thing. You don't have to follow me, but, I got good links. I got the links. I got the sausage links, Carol. I got some sausage links for y'all. Just go to my Twitter page for my sausage links. Okay, so put up number 7. Is that number? Yes. Look, monkeys. Look. North Carolina has never been very high on the list of the big fracking companies. They're not like going, oh, look at it. They're going, let's see, Pennsylvania, North Dakota? Isn't that a big one, Carol? I think North Dakota. There's a bunch of other shale oil places. But North Carolina is pretty low on the list. So on the one hand, Carol, and my lefty friends aren't going to like this. My lefty friends are gonna like, no, you're wrong. But you know what? On the one hand, it's okay to, take a deep breath at what's going on in the legislature this week. They're fast-tracking fracking. Fast-tracking fracking. And you know what? Carol, they're adding things to the legislative agenda, no public comment. They're not even telling people it's happening. They don't even want to deal with public comment because they know what they want to do. They don't give a crap. And listen, Republicans, listen, this is how your party operates. And I'm not saying Jim Black and the Democrats, when they were in control, were a hell of a lot better, but they were better. The Republicans have taken the idea of secrecy to new levels. Budgets, no one's allowed to see what the budget is, right? Secret meetings and agendas that are handed out at the last minute. It's all the standard GOP mode of operation. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. Republicans, I know you watch the show because you tell me. Republicans, this is your party. They're violating the rules of the legislature. They just voted to have no public comment on any of these fracking rules. Committee, whatever, passes through committees, passes to the floor, goes to a vote. No public comment at all. That's the GOP in North Carolina. That's what they're doing. They complained and bitched and moaned when they were in the minority under Jim Black, right? Remember? And those were bad rules. Jim Black abused the system too, but not even close to what the Republicans are doing now. They would at least have an opportunity for public comment. Republicans don't even want that. Worse than Jim Black, Carol. Worse than Jim Black. That's what the GOP is. Worse than a corrupt old man who accepted a bag of, what was it, $7,000 or $8,000? $7,000. I think it was $8,000 in a paper bag, underneath the men's room stall. That's Jim Black. That's Jim Black. And the Republicans right now in the legislature are enforcing a system worse than the guy who reached under. No, really. Were his pants around his ankles is what I want to know. When Jim Black accepted that paper bag, was he even making a pretense of having a poop? Was Jim Black pretending to poop when he accepted that paper bag? Or were his pants buckled around his waist and he was just sitting down? Or did he just bend down, standing? Maybe he was facing, as if he was peeing. Some people go into a stall to pee, Carol.
Yes, they do.
Jim Black might have been one of those people. Jim Black might have been one of those pee-shy people who has to go into a stall. No, I'm not blaming him. I understand. I have a little bit of pee-shy. A little bit, Carol. I'm a little bit pee-shy myself. Takes me a second. I have to take a deep breath. You go to the symphony, you go to those bathrooms. You know what I'm talking about. They're right there. They're right there. It's like, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, hi, how are you too? You know, they're right there. And I have to like pretend they're not there, look down, take a deep breath, let the bladder go. So I understand why Jim Black might have been pee shy. But he's standing there or sitting there, pants up or down, we don't know for sure. The what do they call that? Not affidavits, the indictments. The indictment didn't say exactly how Jim Black was facing. But the point is, Jim Black accepted a paper bag full of money in a men's room stall, and even he ran the legislature in a slightly more open way than the GOP is doing in North Carolina right now. Fact. Yep, fact. Carol, am I lying? Doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. This is Tom Tillis. This is Phil Burr. This is all their transparency promises. It's all just smoke. They were blowing smoke up your ass. They're just sitting there when they were in the minority. Process. Okay, anyway, point is, they're fast-tracking fracking. And I'm trying to calm people down a little bit because North Carolina has never really been a major site for fracking. Now, this is not necessarily great news. If you go to my Twitter page, I link to a Fayetteville Observer article that quotes people in the industry as saying that, you know what this could mean is that smaller companies, more risky companies, more fly-by-night companies, fracking companies, are going to be the ones that jump into North Carolina. Because it's a market where the big boys are like, that's not worth our time. So smaller companies that are more iffy, looking for a quick buck, and don't really have long-term commitments to fracking or doing it intelligently or whatever. Now, you can argue whether that's possible, but, you know, they don't even bother, are going to be the ones that come to North Carolina because North Carolina doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of frackable shale oil. We're not on their list, the major big boys list. Now, there's going to be people who are going to make a lot of money. We've seen it. Signing leases, getting a quick infusion of cash in the family for the family land. That's fine, I suppose. I can't really blame you. But when Pat McCrory talks about energy independence from North Carolina fracking, he's being an ass. It's just not going to happen. Even the best estimates have like us maybe given a couple of years worth of frackable oil, frackable shale oil, right? Or natural gas, sorry. Frackable natural gas. Carol, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I say oil when I should be saying natural gas. But you get my point. We're going to screw up the water for generations to come in North Carolina for a quick hit of a couple years worth of frackable natural gas. I suppose there's a small, tiny chance that we have gajillions down there, that all the geologists are wrong. But the big boys, the companies that frack, they're not looking at North Carolina as a major site. The smaller, less reliable companies that look to make a quick buck are going to look to North Carolina. And if we don't have strong rules about water and testing water, we're going to be screwed by those companies. We've seen how they operate in other states. If the rules don't say you have to tell people that they may not own the mineral rights on their own damn land, they won't do it. We saw that. People got taken advantage of left and right. People are still buying houses in North Carolina without that, right? Without that assurance. And the assurance in the law is very vague. What? It doesn't say somebody can come in and frack on your land and you get nothing because you don't own the mineral rights, you just own the top of the land. It doesn't say that very clearly. It has some vague legalese. Stupid. All right, next. Can we put up number 6, Carol? Number 6. Yes. The glorious Richard Burr. So, there's all this stuff, the VA stuff is a mess. Hell, just talk to most veterans and they'll tell you. But no, I mean, Richard Burr has decided that the way to address it is to complain that major veterans groups, like the Paralyzed Veterans of America, that's a sure path to political success, Carol. Go after the leadership of the Paralyzed Veterans of America, like Richard Burr just did. He wants them to be more vocal, calling for the resignation of the head guy at the Veterans Administration, right? And they're like, no. We've been coming to the Republican-controlled House and the legislature, both, Senate, the Democratic Senate and the Republican-controlled House. We've been coming to you guys for years asking for more money for veterans. And Richard Burr is part of the Republicans who've been blocking that. He didn't even come to the hearing where the veterans groups testified. But he feels comfortable complaining in public and sending them a letter saying that, oh, you guys are terrible, you're just, you're more interested in protecting yourselves and blah, blah, blah. These are veterans groups that have been working to increase money and funding for veterans hospitals for years. And Richard Burr, in his infinite wisdom, our glorious senator, decides that that's who she should be attacking now. And he says that they're going now outraged against him. Well, see, they're more outraged at me than they are at the guy who's head of the VA. That's just not true. They've been complaining for years that we need more and better organized veterans hospitals, right? We need more resources. There's been a huge increase in veterans. Why? Oh, right, because Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld got us into 2 stupid wars with no plan for what to do next. Iraq was a complete disaster from start to finish, a huge waste of American money and resources and lives. Not to mention a huge attack on Iranian civilian lives and resources, a devastation of a whole country. We have seen a huge influx in veterans from those wars. And now Richard Burr is attacking the groups that have been complaining that there's not enough funding to deal with this huge influx. That's Richard Burr's solution? In February, the Republicans blocked funding for more resources for veterans. Now, it came with a bunch of other stuff. Bernie Sanders was the guy that promoted it. It came with a bunch of other stuff, and you could have argued that. But instead, what did the Republicans say? They wanted to attach increased sanctions on Iran to the bill for more money for veteran services. This was just past February. Just here, let me point. Just this past February. A few months ago, remember that? No, you don't. No, they don't remember Jack, Carol. What happened on last week's Hannibal? Oh my God, is there a more overrated show on television than Hannibal? No, really. It's very pretty. Mads Mikkelsen is great, Carol. You know he's my new husband. Mads Mikkelsen and I, we go way back. If you haven't seen The Hunt, I've recommended it many times on the show. Mads Mikkelsen plays, it's a Danish movie, so you have to deal with words like that at the bottom. Can you imagine if you had to watch Monkey Time subtitled, Carol? What? People would be like, what is this crazed monkey saying? Slow down. Wait, let's do it, like at, halftime or half the speed or whatever. What was I talking about? Oh, my new husband, Mads Mikkelsen. The Hunt. It's a Danish movie. He plays a divorced father who is a teacher, a nursery school teacher, and who, through a variety of circumstances, gets accused of child molestation. Amazing little movie. I know some of you aren't going to like it, but it explores the question, what if somebody accused, child molestation is a horrible thing, don't get me wrong, but what if somebody who's accused is not guilty? And the movie doesn't really completely tell you one way or the other whether he's guilty or not, but it makes you think about that question. It's brilliant. It's called The Hunt. And Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Hannibal, is in it. And Hannibal, the TV series, is stupid! God, those plot twists. And if it didn't have this dreamlike, blood-soaked atmosphere, there'd be nothing to it. What am I talking about? Richard Burr. Hannibal. Richard Burr is the Hannibal of the Senate. He's cannibalizing our veterans. He really is. What kind of idiot thinks that you're going to go after the paralyzed veterans of America for not being angry enough? What? What? What kind of idiot thinks that? Oh, that's my sure way to political success? Good Lord. The man's crazy. He's been there too long. That's what sets in. You've seen it. I say David Price has been there too long, too. I'm a bipartisan, they've been there too long guy. Richard Burr's been there too long. Get him out. He's too comfortable. Same thing's happening with Obama. Time to go. Sorry, 2 terms, end of the second term. It's cliche. Everybody gets corrupt. It's a cliche, but it's true. All right, let's talk about the Moral Monday. Number 8. So they changed the rules, and then they increased the secrecy in their process. They're trying to ram crap through without any kind of public input. And what's the only proper response?
More protesting.
More protesting, Carol says. Thank you. Thank you. Carol says, more protesting. Escalating. They try to clamp down, you escalate back. They're being more and more secret about their process, how they're making the laws. They're shutting out the public. You go sit down in their office and get arrested. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Carol, they waited until 2 a.m. to arrest him when all the reporters had gone home. Smart. They think they're being smart. They don't realize that we're smarter. We know exactly what that looks like. They're trying. They're trying to not have any pictures of the arrests. We know what happened. It was a peaceful sit-in in Tom Tillis's office. He ran screaming out the back door. I hear he was screaming, Carol. Ah! Get me out of here. Tom Tillis runs. Escalating. More people, more protests. It's the only answer. And remember, what we're shooting for is November, to show them that even though they've gerrymandered, even though there's no chance, very, very, very tiny chance, that we can change the composition of the legislature in any kind of meaningful way in terms of its Republican versus Democrat composition, tiny, tiny chance in November. Here's what we need to show them. We need to scare them with our numbers in November. We need to tell them, we know you've gerrymandered this so that it's impossible for us to really make a serious change, but watch us come out anyway. Watch what's going to happen next time. Watch us build something. Watch Tom Tillis. Watch Phil Burger. Your time is numbered. Your days are numbered in the as the head of the North Carolina legislature. Watch. You can try to limit voters. You can try to clamp us down. You can try to close down polling places. Watch Tom Tillis. Watch us beat you back in your challenge to Kay Hagan. Watch Tom Tillis. Watch Phil Burger. Watch Art Pope. Watch Pat McCrory. And Pat McCrory, watch and worry for 2016, because you are out. Pat McCrory, one-term governor. Prediction, Carol.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at these. I think I'm about 60% on my political predictions. That's better than any other pundit. Pat McCrory, one-term governor. 2016, he is so out. They're going to scramble to try to get us. All those restrictions on voting, voter ID and all, they all come into effect for 2016. They're all there to protect Pat McCrory. Watch us beat him out. Watch Pat McCrory, one-term governor. Now we got to work long-term on the legislators. So even though Phil Burger, Tom Tillis, they're all feeling pretty comfortable because they've gerrymandered the districts, they're shutting polling places in heavily Democratic districts, they're doing everything they can to hurt us and hurt our turnout. Watch. We're going to come out anyway in November, and we're going to come out strong, and we're going to scare them. We're not going to be able to turn the legislature Democratic this time, but we're going to scare them. We're going to scare our Pope. Come out in November. Get other people out in November. Register people. You need to be doing something. Just you and me, an hour a week. Volunteer. Do something to increase the Democratic turnout in November. Watch Art Pope. Watch us come out anyway. We're going to come out all over you, Art Pope. Come out over Art Pope. Come out on Art Pope. That's my new slogan. Come out on Art Pope. Come on. Come on, Art Pope. Come on, Art Pope. Yes, you can do it. We are gonna surprise you in November. We're not gonna win, we know that. I mean, we're gonna win some races. We're gonna surprise you in some races. But we're not gonna turn the legislature from a Republican-dominated crack house, which it really is. It's just a crack house on Jones Street. Hey, what's happening in the crack house on Jones Street today? Oh, they're shutting down debate. They're not having any public debate about important legislation that affects everybody in the state. They don't even want to hear from us. They don't even want to hear from us. So the crack house on Jones Street is in full swing. We can't change that this year. Can't make it Democratic this year. The gerrymandering's too strong. There's a small, tiny chance. If everybody came out, we would sweep them out in a second. But, given the realities that most people don't vote, then the best we can do is scare them a little bit. So think about what you can do in November, between now and November, to increase voter turnout. You, me, what can we do?
Want to talk about the shooting?
Oh, yes, let's talk about the shooting. I was in Ohio this weekend. Carol, it wasn't a vacation because I was going to my niece's high school graduation. And you know how exciting that was. Yeah. No, but it was very exciting seeing my family. My family was great. Sister-in-law, niece, nephew, uncle, aunt. I have a new cousin. My uncle and aunt have kind of taken in a new kid from their neighborhood, and he's part of the family now. It's so weird, Carol. We just decide. Oh, Shanoram is a cousin now. I got a new cousin, a new 5-year-old cousin. It's great. We had a great time. So anyway, I had fun. But if there's a more boring ceremony in America today than a high school graduation, please don't tell me, because I don't want to know. I don't want to even imagine it. That was so boring, except for that brief moment when my niece was, yay, graduate, yay, Did they have rules where you couldn't stand up and do stuff? No. Well, here's the thing. In years past, they had been people with air horns. And that was really disruptive, and cheering and all, and it was really disruptive. So they made a new rule, and they had cops enforcing it. There was only one person who blew off an air horn. That's just rude. It really is. And it blocked the name of the next person crossing the stage. It was just really dumb. So yeah, they had rules, and most people didn't bother following them. We applauded, we didn't cheer. But anyway, long story short, I missed the whole thing about the Santa Barbara shooting, right? I wasn't on the internet much. I was hanging out with people, real people. Imagine that. And so as I've been kind of catching up since I got back, it's so horrifying, so horrifying. Hey, boys, you don't have a right to women's bodies, ever. Shocker. You don't have a right to their affection. Shocker. I know the guy was mentally ill, but I've been reading a lot of women talking about this online, and I can only imagine how horrifying it is. It's like that guy in Canada, years ago, Carol. Remember him? University in Canada shot up, had an anti-woman rampage, shot up all these female students in the classroom. In Toronto, was it? Montreal, I think. Remember him? A lot of women are talking that this is just it's not uniquely different what this kid did. He was mentally ill, yeah, but what he's doing is a gradual extension of what a lot of guys feel. Entitled, privileged. I deserve sex with women. And if I don't get it, it's their fault. That's what they think, really. Who are these people? What planet did they grow up on? God. Yes, he was mentally ill, but also he's demonstrating attitudes that a lot of men have, a lot of boys have. And I think that the Washington Post essay or columnist who actually raised the culture of idiotic boyness in movies like Seth Rogen's movies and Judd Apatow comedies. You know, this whole boy, 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 boy culture. I think she had a point. And his outraged response also had a point, but he didn't acknowledge that she actually had a point. This is a heavily male-suffused, male-dominated culture. Think about it. How many movies have 4 guys in the leads and 1 woman, right? Oh, come on, I don't even have to mention this. This is reality. We live in that culture. And this was just an extension of it. He wasn't a radically different monster. He was mentally ill, but he was expressing ideas and feelings that a lot of men in this culture, a lot of boys in this culture operate under. It's true. You know it. Dads, you need to train your kids better. Moms, you need to train your daughters to fight that stuff, and your sons to deal with it, to recognize it better. Sisters, brothers, you need to call each other out on this crap. And when you see bull crap in movies where guys treat women like garbage and get rewarded for it, you need to call it out. Stop supporting it. All right. What else can we talk about, Carol? 15 seconds. Mulberries. Mulberries are out now. There's mulberry trees all over. They're delicious. They're falling on the sidewalks.